G'day, Stu here from UAVfutures, and today, well, something you guys have overwhelmingly asked for. This is the review of the ARFUN. Now, ever since I did a review of the little, this one's the 95 Lizard, and I put this down as the world's quickest micro quadcopter because it's an absolute rocket. Ever since that review came out, a lot of people in the comments said, Stuart, can you please compare it to the ARFUN? So that's what we're going to be doing here. We've got this little pocket rocket here. I suspect it's going to go very, very quick as well. What we're going to do in this video, we're going to stick it on the bench, quickly break it down, look at how it comes, because when you take the battery out, it is absolutely tiny, and then we're going to take it out to the field. I'll show you some DVR of this thing ripping around, and then we'll get Grumpy Trev to fly it as well. And then most importantly, let's put the two head to head and have some some sprints, some races, and see which one out of these two is the fastest little micro quad. Anyway, enough rambling, let's stick it on the bench and get started. Alrighty, so here it is on the bench, and this is the ARFUN, and straight away I can hear you saying, Stuart, that doesn't look like the one you flashed up before, and no, good sirs, sirs and ladies, you would be correct, if there's any ladies in FPV quadcopters that is, but you would be correct, because I had to put a different receiver in here, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. And I also changed out the little connector we had, and I put it on an XT30 so I could match it up, because I've got a lot more batteries for this thing on the XT30. Anyway, this is the little frame itself, and I guess compared to the Wizard, it's a tiny little, I can't even tell, I think it's a little bit smaller, or I'm not 100% sure, but it is absolutely tiny. Same size, and this thing absolutely rips. It is so much fun to fly around. So let's have a look at some of its components. Actually, you know what? No, the first thing, let's put it on the scales. So take your bet. The Lizard, if you were interested, we can just turn these on. Hold on 1 second. The Lizard came in at 66 grams, but that was with the receiver that was built in. So the receiver that did come with this thing, I'll talk about that a little bit as well, but I had to put my own in. This one's coming in at 61 grams. So it's, there you go, a few grams lighter, which, look, really does make a big difference. I guess you could say this one is like 10% lighter than this one, give or take. A little bit of maths there. Let me know in the comments how good of an estimate that was. But, you know, give or take, this one, 10% is a bit of a difference when it comes down to such a small little quad. Now, as far as the components go, right here, we've got, again, these props on the outside. A lot of people on the forums and online have been switching these out, and also soft mounting their motors as well, because you do get a few little oscillations on these motors, these tiny little ones. They're pulling in they're putting out such a high amount of thrust that it can give you a few oscillations. So these ones are the DYS 1104 7500 kV, so it should be an absolute little rocket. In the middle, you've got a tiny little 4-in-1, a BL Heli S ESC, and that's pretty exciting because that's 20 amps, which is crazy to think that something this small needs an ESC that big, but that means this thing is going to be an absolute rocket. On the top, of course, you've got your F3 flight controller. It did come with another tiny little receiver, but because this is one of those rare cases where, because I use FlySky and the Turnigy Evolution works with most FlySky receivers, but not the one that came with this. So I had to stick it out, and I had to change over to the FS A8S on the top. Doesn't really make any difference because you're not going to be mounting a GoPro or anything like that to this. So yeah, that's just something to be mindful of, is if you're going to bind it up using the FlySky and you've got a Turnigy Evolution, you're going to need to put your own receiver in here because it doesn't natively bind. All the others, if you're using a Tyrannus or a Spectrum or just a different FlySky radio, you can have no dramas, but for me, the Turnigy Evolution, I needed to put in my own little receiver. But no real dramas because this one's super light anyway. Now towards it, we do have a little buzzer on the back, which is great, and we don't have any, I thought we had some LEDs, but turns out I can't see any right there. Now at the front, we have our little FPV camera and our VTX all in one sort of combo. Big difference you'll notice between this and the Lizard. Now, if you haven't seen the Lizard, by the way, I'll leave a link up here to go check that out. I think it's the world's fastest, I titled it like world's fastest micro quad, because it was absolutely insane. These are a whole new breed of mini quads. At the front here, you can see you've got your big antenna on this one, an omnidirectional. Here, you've just got a little dipole, and I think this is actually a little bit better on a little quad like this. At the front, with this FPV camera, this is one thing that I wasn't 100% the biggest fan of. Mine, you can see, I don't know if it's a little bit off-centered, but it's definitely closer to one prop and the other, and I was having some sections where I could hear it clicking on the camera just a little bit to sort of ground it out a little bit. It doesn't seem to be centered correctly, and of course you can't adjust the image, which is a bit crazy because when you're going full stick with this thing, you're on an absolute insane angle when you're flying around. Now the field of this one, it's not actually as fisheye, so it's 120 degrees, and when we're flying around in the DVR, you'll actually see that I really prefer this. It felt a lot more controllable. We didn't have the big fisheye and the big insane sort of field of view that we had with the Lizard right here. So the ARFUN, I felt it was like a lot more controllable when I was flying around on the field. Flipping it over, you can see again, we really do need a better option to mounting our batteries. They don't seem to go too well on here. I wish we had a little better. Some of those ones you could really tighten down. I'm not a fan of these type of Velcro straps because I feel like you can't really tighten down too much. Plus, they're super long. Like who's designing this and putting a battery on here that's possibly going to be that big? That's absolutely ridiculous. And right here you can see I just changed out my XT30. I just put on an XT30 instead of one of the little JST connectors. Oh, and the other thing I should mention, of course, it's got an OSD, a Betaflight OSD, so it was super easy to turn on some of the features and all that sort of jazz in here to make this thing ready to rock and roll. And another little difference as well, in this one, you've got a straight up mini USB port, whereas on the Lizard, you had to use a little special, that's on this side I think, you had to use a little special adapter there to connect up to Betaflight. So this thing's stacking up to look, I guess, if I had to choose between the two, you know, I don't know if this one's going to be as fast as the Lizard because this thing was absolutely crazy. Hopefully it is because it's still got some really good performance on here. But I think this one, if I was going to pick between the two, I'm a big fan of this one. I think you guys were right in the comments. Putting these two head to head is going to be very, very interesting. So with that said and done, that's what we should do. We're going to take this thing out to the field, fly it around. I'll show you some DVR. We'll hand it over to Grumpy Trev. He'll fly it around as well. And then most importantly, I think what you guys want to see at the moment, I don't have any real way of comparing the speeds of these two. So what I'll do, I'm going to try and do some straight line passes with these two. With the same style of batteries and put the two DVRs next to each other and see just which one is quicker. Now I think it's going to be this one because honestly I've never seen anything as fast as this, but hopefully the ARFUN comes into its own and this thing really performs as well. I can't wait. I'm excited. Let's pop down to the field, have some fun in 3, 2, 1. Alrighty, down here in the field, about to rip around the ARFUN. Now this one's going to be with the 3S battery. Even though it comes with the 2S battery, I don't think it's a fair comparison because what I also want to do, after I show you some DVR of this and we'll get Grumpy Trev to give it a go, I think he's still waking up actually. After we give Grumpy Trev a go, we'll also put it against the Lizard 95 because I know you guys want to see the comparison. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's check out some DVR of the ARFUN. Okie dokie, hokey pokey. Here we go with the ARFUN, and you can see with the battery, just watch the battery this whole flight because it looks like it's almost empty, but it's probably just because these tiny little things, they've got a bit of a dilemma. Like they need a really small battery, but you also need a battery that can deliver a lot of juice. Because look how fast these things can go, and they're really going to suck down the amp. So it looks like I'm killing the battery, but it bounces back totally fine. Anyway, let's talk about its flight characteristics. So you notice here I'm flying it around, and the biggest difference between this and the Lizard 95, this thing feels much more controllable. So this is on its maiden flight, and you can definitely do some punches and some cool little acro with it. But I'm starting to think, hey, you know what? I can probably do the UAVfutures test track with it. It might not be the quickest thing around, but versus some of the 5 inches, but it could definitely give some of them a run for their money. So I think right here I start to line it up, and I think, you know what? Let's hit some of these gates. Let's see how it goes. Go and do the over and under, and I thought it was going to have a lot less power in that. It turned out to be super easy to fly around. And then I think, all right, let's do it. Let's do a whole lap of the UAVfutures test track with this tiny little micro, which I never really would have thought would have been that challenging, I guess, in the past because they've always been so slow. But with this thing, you can definitely rip around a little course. So I think you could beat some of those slower pilots out there. You can see it's got plenty of speed. And we will show some bigger, faster passes as well, I guess. And we'll do some straight line speed runs and that sort of thing. But yeah, around the little UAVfutures test track, this thing is awesome. Like you could take this out, and this is, I think, a big strength of this quad. Whether you want to fly it around a really small space like a playground, I'm trying to do a power loop here, but I left the power on just a little bit too long. Whether you're trying to fly it around like a really small space, a little playground, or I definitely don't think you could fly this thing around inside because it's just got too much power. Or if you took it out and you flew it around outside in a bigger track, maybe something like this big, you can see you can still have a lot of fun with it because it is super quick. Now, probably the most deceptive thing about the ARFUN is it doesn't look as fast as the Lizard when you're behind the goggles, But when I took it all, like that was my first impression, you know, I didn't really think it seemed as quick. I still thought the Lizard was quicker. But then when we compared some of the DVRs in a straight line, I think I was a little bit shocked. So that fisheye definitely gives a little bit more of an illusion on the Lizard that you're going quicker. And it just might be that they're very similar speeds, but you just can't tell that because the ARFUN doesn't have that strange distortion in the lens. Alrighty, so I've just flown the ARFUN around, and look, it really was fun. So smooth, it was still really quick, but the most important thing was how controllable it was. So what we're going to do, let's hand it over to Grumpy Trev. He's got it in his hands. What do you... He's also a part-time comedian now. So all right, Trevor, what's your new, tell us about your new jewelry. What do you reckon?
Look, isn't it small? Look how small it is. Can't get over how small this thing is. It looks pretty cool. I love it already. Let's stick a lipo on it and see what happens. All right, let's go. See how this little thing goes.
ARFUN it's called.
ARFUN. I hope I have some fun. Well, it's nice and quick. Not as quick as the other thing. Way more controllable. This is like... The other one was out of control. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but this is pretty cool. I like this. It's quick. Camera's a lot better. It's very maneuverable. Like, this is controllable, not like that other thing. It was just too bloody quick. This is really nice to fly. OSD, which is great. Very clear, you can read it easy. This is a lot of fun to fly. I like it. Very stable, amazingly stable.
If you had to buy one between the Lizard and the ARFUN, what one would you get?
Oh, I definitely get this one because look, the Lizard's quick. It's just too quick, but this is way more controllable. You can turn this thing on a dime, it's responsive. The Lizard's just like a teleporter. This is still quick and still fun. I'd definitely buy this one because I want to be able to navigate stuff as well. You just can't do it in the other thing, it's just too quick. Not as fast as the other one, but it's still bloody quick. It's a little beast, so just don't fly it along grass because if you do, you'll never see it again.
Final thoughts?
So much fun packed in this little tiny package. Compared to the Lizard, this is a lot more fun because you can fly this and have fun. The Lizard is just, like I said, it was a teleporter. 1 minute you're there and it's gone.
Insanity. All right, give the ARFUN a Grumpy Trev rating out of 10.
Well, look, this is a 9.5. I really do like it. It's not a 10 by any means because it's got a few little things, but it's great. A lot of fun, guys.
Alrighty, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to directly compare some DVR, trying to fly in the same line. Look, it's not going to be perfect. It's not super scientific, but we're going to race the Lizard against the ARFUN, do them in a straight line and see which one's quicker. I think it's going to be the Wizard, but I don't think the ARFUN is going to be very much behind. All right, let's do it. Alrighty, so here's a little test, and drop this down in the comments down below. What one did you think is quicker? So we're going to run the 3 ARFUN passes, then we're going to run the 3 Lizard passes, and then we'll compare them side by side. So you can see here, the ARFUN looks super, it is super quick still, but then here's the Lizard. Does this one look quicker? And I'm not sure, is it the fisheye effect that's playing with my mind? It's very, very difficult to tell because they both look different. But which one do you think is going to be the quickest? So let's run them side by side right here. I've tried to match it up as best I can. We've got the Lizard on the left, the ARFUN on the right, and I think it's so impossible to tell. And all I can really tell is maybe the Lizard has a little bit quicker acceleration. Alrighty, so there's my review of the ARFUN, and I've got to say, I think I was wrong. Like when I went out and I flew this thing around versus the Wizard, maybe this isn't the world's fastest quadcopter because I think these are a whole new breed of mini quad. Now, when I first flew this thing, this is the Lizard, it totally blew my mind and blew everybody's mind who'd seen it. I mean, like, we had TBS squad pilots there. They were blown away. I had a whole bunch of people who were flying. And when they first saw the Lizard flying, we were all totally blown away. And we'd never seen a quad like it. And then because you guys were like, check out the ARFUN, I went out, I tried this out as well, and at the start, I didn't think it was as fast, and that must be because of the fisheye lens, because this one definitely felt faster. But comparing some of that DVR, I don't know, this thing was consistently very, very quick. So overall, I think these are going to be a whole new breed of mini quad, and I want to get some more of these on the show because they are a ton of fun. They are super fast, and also, like, they're definitely not intimidating. So you could fly these around some small places, but they definitely have plenty of pep if you want to take it out and really put the hammer down. Anyway, hope that you guys enjoyed that. Definitely drop some comments down below. What do you guys want to see? What do you want me to do with these drones? Because I've got a lot of exciting plans. I'll try and get some more on the show, and a bit of something I'm pretty excited about. Since getting these, I've gone out and I bought like one of those speed guns so I can actually measure this stuff, because that's something that I want to show you guys. So we should start getting some speed measurements on here soon, so we really can test out and quantify just what is the world's fastest micro drone. Anyway, Subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying. If you had the choice, what one would you go for now after you've seen both of these? Would you go for the ARFUN, which I do think was a little bit more controllable, or would you go for this bad boy right here, which is just total insanity and you're hanging on the whole time? Anyway, let me know. Happy flying. Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAV Futures family, there's things like bonus Velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.